Okay, so now we're ready to start on our project. Let's go ahead and start importing in some of those models we just downloaded. So I'm going to go to File, Import, and you're going to see it's going to immediately take me to the Scenes folder. But if I hit this little up arrow right here, it will take me to my project folder. And I can go up to Assets where I saved these, and I can choose Axe. I'm going to choose axe.fbx. Now again, I think Maya will work with these other files as well, but FBX is a cleaner file format. It also contains additional information, and it's pretty common. If you've taken the Principles of Game Design class, you've probably recognized that .fbx is the file format that you would use to send something from Maya to Unreal. So we'll just go ahead and hit Import, and it's going to bring our axe in. Right? And actually, we'll go ahead and pull in our other models too. So I'll pull that off to the side. I'll show you another way we can import is just to go in here and drag and drop from mushroom 04.fbx. You'll see now I got that mushroom in here as well. And I can also go in here in my assets and just pull in my wooden barrel. And so these are all to scale, it says, of what they should be, and I am going to call that into question because that actually seems like that's much more like a hatchet then, or maybe this is a really big barrel. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of scaling in here. Now, what I want you to notice with this is that these models, although they were probably made out of multiple pieces, right? If I grab this barrel, you'll notice that like this little cork here actually goes into the barrel, right? This was made out of multiple pieces. But what they've done is before releasing them, they have combined them into single meshes, right? And so for some of this, we may have to split this up. Other parts we maybe won't, but I want to show you how to do that. So for example, with my axe here, I may want to separate this out into two pieces. And what they've done is, earlier it already was two pieces. You can tell like those come apart. And what they did is they selected those two pieces and went to mesh and combined them. Right? And so now I just want to separate them again so I can work with them individually. So I'll go mesh, separate. And you'll see that I have these two polygon meshes that are underneath this group now. I'm going to middle click drag those and drop those outside of here so they're independent of that. And now with those two selected, I'll go to edit and then delete by type, history, and that gets rid of that group. And then I'll also, to freeze all of this out here, well, I'm not going to freeze my transformations. I moved it off from my root, and that's why I have those numbers there. And so now you'll see that I have two pieces, right? I can have axe head and axe handle. So this allows me to work with these individually, make additional changes to them. But what I want to show you is the biggest reason we may want to do this is because I may want to apply different materials to stuff, right? So we'll be getting into this soon, but I want you to select these objects and we go up to UV editor, and you'll see that what we actually have here are these meshes as if they were folded out, as if they were laid out, right? So this axe right here, if I tumble around, it's as if there's a seam cut down the back here and around the bottom for the handle, and they've just unfolded that so we could sort of lay that out flat. And the reason is because the UVs are how we will learn how to put textures on stuff, and we'll have an additional video about that here in a few minutes. But if I click this little checkerboard right up here inside of my UV editor, you'll see that I have to have the image clicked on as well. You'll see that how these checkers are laid out here will show us how those will wrap around our model, right? Now, there is a, let's say I wanted to do some changes to this. Let's say I wanted to go in here and I noticed that there's a little bit of a gap in there between the axe handle and the axe. So maybe I just go grab these vertices and I pull those up a little bit. And let's say I wanted to also insert an edge loop here. I wanted to add a little bit more detail here. I could go to Mesh Tools and insert edge loop and do that. And now maybe I want to round this just a little bit more. I'm just kind of playing with the model. I'm making this model mine, right? Maybe you wanted to go something more extreme and like put some spikes down it or something like that. So I have that. It kind of messes up my model here a little bit. And so one of the ways we can do that or fix that, that's actually just how the light is bouncing off the model. It didn't really change it. What I can do is mesh display and click this soften edges. And so like this is a very, this is the base mesh. This is the thing that I can edit now and make my own, right? But what I want to show you is that when I started editing some stuff over here in my UV editor, now the UVs are gone, right? And that's scary, right? Oh crap, I needed those, right? Where do they go? And so I'm really just doing that to show you they're still here. The way these models are set up, they actually have 2 UV sets. So if you ever go in here and the UVs are gone, I can go to UV sets and you'll see that we have current UV set is set to map 1 instead of UV map. We can click here and say, copy UVs to UV set and click map 1. And so now when I'm on map 1 or UV set, they look the same. And what that actually lets us do is if this gets kind of cluttered later, I can go to my UV set editor and actually just delete the second one. So I have my UVs on something clean here. So I'm probably going to go ahead and do that again here. Oh, it just has 1, so I don't have to worry about it as much. And so now, if I have both of these highlighted, I can see how the materials are going to line up on this, right? Click this. I'm clicking this little checkerboard to get my checkerboard on there. And so how this is useful is because we can start to see how our textures will line up on this. Okay, and so in a little bit here, I will pull this open again, and we'll put some materials on this using a couple of different software tools. So just to show you a couple of places where we may end up needing, let me turn off that checkerboard just so I can see this a little better, where we may end up needing a little bit of modeling work, I believe, is I think I need maybe another edge loop up here, maybe a couple of edge loops here or something. Just so I have a little bit more deformation in this, right? And if I hit 3, you can see that like I may want it to bend a little bit more here in the middle, and that's where I would go in and mesh tools, insert edge loop, and maybe I decide I want to put one there, and there, and there. It's not really changing the model, but it's putting more fidelity in the model. So when I deform it, I have more information on what can deform. And that'll make that a little sharper up there at the top. Sharper right here, right? And so now when I go back to object mode, it doesn't really look significantly different, but I will be able to deform it better later. And we'll talk about that a little bit more later. And then again, like when we look at our UV editor here, like this is very interesting to see this. Like we can see how all of this is laid out. And so we'll talk about UVs in depth and how to create those, how to make those for our object. But this will make this much easier as we start to create materials, as we start to create textures, to see how those textures are going to line up with our model.